Hi, James Mullen. It's James the Wine Guy, James the Gin Guy. And I will say, I'll start off immediately by saying that I do 95% of my videos on wine, but 5% I reserve to do other things such as beer or vodka or tequila, and also this, gin. Now, this is Tanqueray. It's a very, obviously very famous, probably one of the most famous gins being produced today, and founded in 1830 by Charles Tanqueray. So that's the namesake. And this is a royal warrant by Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, and London dry style. And so you see on the label here, this is a special label, and it's a little bit reflective. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I think on the back of it, it's "Grab the Night by the Junipers," and I, find this to be just a really compelling gin. One that I would say from college onward, I was just struck with this. I thought this is such a beautiful beverage art form, and then when you think about it, that was my day of drinking either martini or maybe a Tanqueray tonic with a squeeze of lime, and the flavor characteristics came together quite well, and I have enjoyed gin ever since, and something I think is really nicely done. Gin is seeing a resurgence. Now, one of the biggest, not producers, but consumers of the entire planet are the Spanish. So go to Spain and you'll have gin at some form. Probably after all the wine you've enjoyed, you're going to have a gin somehow. Sometimes it's served with a cola, sometimes it's served on its own, and sometimes it's served with however you want it. So it depends on where you are in Spain. But for me, this is a beautiful, very, very gorgeous, and we don't know the exact recipe. It's a secret, as with any producer. So juniper, coriander, angelica root, and licorice are the four main botanicals in this. Now, juniper is the, not juniper root, juniper berry is the chief ingredient here, as within any gin. So really getting its name, Geneviève from the Dutch, or Genèvre from the French. So really that homage is going back to juniper. Now, for some people, they find this to be off-putting, and for me, I find it to be very attractive and sophisticated, and something that I long for, and a taste that is really, I don't know if it's acquired. I think for some people it is, and yet I think some gin makers have really understood what does it take for me to produce a gin that's really appreciated by a mass audience, and maybe that's toning down some notes but keeping the juniper in. And that's been successful, I think, for some producers. Now, for me, I go back to the standard many ways, and on a blind tasting, I can definitely pick this out of maybe 24 gins or more, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. It's showing that there is that that recipe that really goes a long way and creates that memorable impression that stays with you. So here we go. Take a taste and give you some feedback. Micro hints. I mean, it's really hard not to really identify the juniper. It's predominant. It's there. The coriander is something I think is a really nice layer below that. But I'm getting cardamom notes on this, believe it or not. I'm getting cinnamon notes. Pepper, obviously, is really predominant here. And really some white floral notes. And I think it's a really gorgeous gin. I give this standard for me. Not that it's my, like Her Majesty the Queen's standard, but it's something that I really refer back to quite often. But I do enjoy other gins as well. So this is a 9.2 out of a 10.0 scale. For more wine, gin, and other reviews, please go to jamesthewineguy.com. Subscribe to my videos on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, Pinterest. Salut.